So people are probably going to liken this situation to the time with Reagan and Jimmy Carter. And I think that they're going to think that basically Trump is going to come in there and they're worried about just getting completely carpet bombed and just getting annihilated, because I think that there's a good chance Trump would probably do that. So that's like, I mean, is that the reason why this happened? It's impossible to know that. But I do think that the people that are, you know, like leading Hamas, I do think that they're worried about that. Absolutely. I mean, like, I would be fucking, like, if you were Hamas, wouldn't you be fucking terrified of that? Like, yeah, I would be, absolutely.
I think we had the exact number of Palestinian prisoners who would be released by Israel, and then there are a bunch of other different elements that would go into effect. Palestinians would be allowed to go home in the Gaza Strip. More humanitarian aid would get to go in. But I think the point here, Pam, is that after weeks of feverish work on the U.S. side with both Biden administration officials and officials from the incoming Trump team working in coordination with each other, they and the other mediators have managed to get the Israelis and Hamas, it appears, across the finish line, where we are going to get a truce, a pause in this fighting. One thing I really want to emphasize is this does not mean the end of this war. This means a break in this war. Hopefully,
yeah, I think that everybody knows that.
This break will last at least 6 weeks, if not longer. Hopefully all
Jesus Christ, how fucking bleak. Hopefully this break in the war lasts for at least 6 weeks. That's like, it's like 2 months. Oh my God.
People will come home who are supposed to come home, but there are big questions about what would happen after this first phase of a ceasefire, which, as it stands now, and this plan has been in place for quite some time since President Biden laid it out in May, this is expected to...
Yeah, somebody says, especially after Pete Hegseth said in his confirmation that he wants to kill every member of Hamas. Yeah, I mean, like, it's impossible to know whether that was a factor. And I think that it's unfair to say that it definitely was. But I would tell you this, that if I was in charge of Hamas and I saw these two crazy fucks that are about to be in charge, and they have nuclear weapons and like fucking, you know, faster than the speed of sound jets and infinite bombs that are saying that we're going to kill every single one of you, I would be more willing to negotiate. I absolutely would.
Last around 6 weeks. So we're still waiting for final word, I believe, from all of the parties, but this certainly seems imminent, if not a done deal already.
I want to go back to MJ Lee at the White House. I believe we're reconnected. MJ, what can you tell us about this plan?
Well, Pam, according to a senior administration official telling CNN, it is done, it is confirmed, meaning that Hamas has given that final green light, agreeing to the ceasefire and hostages release deal that had been on the table for a while. And based on all of our reporting, we knew that this really was the final step that all of the parties were waiting for, that it really came down to this group agreeing to the parameters that everybody else had agreed to. Part of the reason we have been so cautious in our reporting all of this time is precisely that, that in the end, it came down to Hamas giving this final green light. And when we have spoken to at least U.S. officials involved in these discussions and with knowledge of the situation, they always pointed to the fact that it was impossible to make any kind of predictions with certainty, because at the end of the day, they were dealing with Hamas. But again, here we have it, confirmation from a senior administration official that Hamas has finally given the green light, and there is a deal for a ceasefire in Gaza and for the hostages to be released.
What a relief.
This is a deal, as you were talking about just now with Alex, that has been elusive for the Biden administration and for the U.S. for so many months. You know, we had that initial ceasefire back more than a year ago, around Thanksgiving, 2 Thanksgivings ago, when a number of hostages came out. That ceasefire ended up being temporary, only lasting a number of days.
15 months.
And really since then, U.S. officials have been working to get a second
5 days before the 20th. Well, somebody said in chat, the innocent fears the cruel and the cruel fears the madman. Yeah, I mean, like, in my opinion, I'll say it. I think Trump's a fucking psychopath. I do. I think that he would bomb them, and he would not give a fuck about how many innocent people got killed or anything. He would legitimately fucking kill all of them. I think that's what he would do. And I think that they're worried, and I think they know that. And also, it's probably not a guarantee, but it's like, would you want to take the risk of that? I wouldn't at all. It's an intellectually dishonest statement. Really? I mean, okay. I mean, that's what I think. I mean, if I were them, that's how I would look at it. Yeah. I mean, really, like, that's how I would look at it. I mean, I'm not sure, like, maybe it wouldn't happen that way. Maybe that's not how they see it, but that's just how I'd see it.
The ceasefire in place, but it had been so challenging. There were so many moments throughout the last year